Empress Matilda. In the year 1102, a little baby girl was born to King Henry I. She was named Matilda. Matilda grew into a playful girl who loved being outside and horse riding, and became very, very stubborn. When she was still very young, Matilda was sent to Germany to get married to the man who would one day become the Holy Roman Emperor. They lived in Germany and Italy until Matilda's husband died and she was sent to France to marry somebody else. When King Henry I was old and soon to die, since he had no other legitimate children, he told all of his officials that Matilda was to be queen. He made all of the men in government vow to be loyal to Matilda when she arrived in England to take her throne. But by the time Matilda reached England to claim her throne, her wicked cousin Stephen had taken it instead. The men who had promised King Henry I that they'd be loyal to Matilda had broken their promise. They didn't want a woman ruling over them. So Matilda left London and moved to Scotland, where she waited quietly for a few years. But she hadn't given up on claiming her throne. She waited until Stephen was off fighting one of his battles before she travelled to London and tried to take the crown. But the people had got used to Stephen being their king. They didn't want a woman coming to disrupt his rule. Poor Matilda was forced to flee London. Matilda took refuge in Oxford Castle, but she wasn't safe for long. Stephen was furious that Matilda had tried to take the throne from him, so he gathered his army and besieged Oxford Castle so that no one could enter or leave it. It was winter time and the snow was brutal. Matilda had been trapped inside Oxford Castle for 3 long months and the food and water was running out. Matilda knew that if she didn't escape past Stephen's army soon, she would starve. One night, Matilda dressed herself in a white cloak to disguise herself in the snow and began her escape. She had tied lots of bedsheets together to form a rope. She flung the rope out of her bedroom window and started to climb down. The snow and wind whipped around Matilda as she climbed from her bedroom down the side of the tower. One wrong move and she would fall to her death. But brave Matilda made it to the bottom of the tower safely. From there, Matilda was able to make her way to the frozen River Thames and walk on it all the way to Abingdon. Matilda fled to France, where she would be safe and lived there for the rest of her life. And though she was never able to claim the throne that should have been hers, when her son was old enough, he succeeded Stephen and became King Henry II. Matilda gave her son lots of political and religious advice during his reign and was able to do lots of good for England through him.